Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn to get a crush on cash, and we're going to talk about the famous Dave Ramsey. If you were new here and you've never seen my face, hey, I'm Myka. Super nice to meet you. Slam that subscribe button if you're new. I have tons of awesome content coming out for you. But today, we are talking about Dave Ramsey. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He has helped us so much. I've got his whole entire plan here. We're gonna work through it, and I'm gonna tell you everything that worked for us and things that didn't. When we were young, we started the Dave Ramsey plan, and we paid off over $150,000 worth of debt. Student loan debt, credit card debt, mortgages, just bills out the wazoo. We were dumb, and we just had a hunger for fancy things, and we didn't have the money to fund the fancy things, or we just racked things up in our college tuition. Just honestly, we were not very financially sound. We weren't very intelligent with our money. We made a lot of poor choices. So we had over $150,000 worth of debt, and we were able to get completely debt-free using the Dave Ramsey plan. However, along the way, we found lots of mistakes, lots of things that we would tweak, and we made a lot of dumb choices along the way. Instead of it taking 5 to 6 months of us being aggressive and intense, we learned the hard way what we should have done from the very beginning, and I want to explain that to you. Like I said, if you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he is the king of helping people get more financially sound, get out of debt, and just get their life together. All right, first of all, let's explain what Dave Ramsey's process is. He has many steps that you can go through to really help yourself achieve financial independence and have a lot more financial security. The very first thing that he encourages is for you to have $1,000 emergency fund set aside in case anything happens, whether your car breaks down or someone goes to the hospital, anything crazy. You have $1,000 so you don't have to get into more debt when you have an emergency. The next baby step plan is to pay off all debt. Number 3 is to put 3 to 6 months of emergency savings aside. Number 4, invest 15% of your household income. Baby step number 5 is to save for your children's college. Baby step number 6 is to pay off the house early. And number 7 is to give and build wealth. The very first thing that I would do is figure out, what is your spoil item? What are things that you enjoy? Do you like to go shopping for a nice outfit? What is your weakness in spending? Where is it? Do you like to get your nails done? Do you like to go out to the bar to get a cocktail once a week or a couple times a week? Figure out where your reward is and what your spoil item is. This was our biggest downfall. When we didn't take advantage or pay attention to our spoil items, we would overly indulge in those spoil items, or we would try to cut them out completely and go cold turkey, and then we would eventually crash and then splurge like crazy. For me, a spoil item happens to be shopping. I love buying new clothes and I love really cute outfits. So my spoil item would be, maybe it's an outfit, maybe it's a couple cute t-shirts, and I would plan and prepare for that every single month. I would budget it into my budget without fail. When it comes, at least for myself, some people are really good at being extremists. For myself anyways, when I'm an extremist, I always snap. I always fall. I always fail every single time. I eventually just am human, I crash, and I like to be a consumer. It's one of my favorite things, to be honest with you, and I don't think that's ever gonna change. As minimal as I am and as frugal as I like being, I will always be a consumer. So I budget in every single month. I budget in fashion because I love new clothes. It's important to me. So I would pick your spoil item, write it down. What are your rewards? What are your spoil items? They might look totally different than mine, but write them down and prepare for it. For the next step of the process, the very first thing that I would say is be as aggressive as you can to get the very first baby step done. Saving that first $1,000, get it done as fast as possible, whatever that means, picking up an extra job. We actually became dumpster divers, as crazy as that sounds. My husband would dumpster dive behind buildings and sell all of the things that he found on eBay. He sold on Craigslist. We sold Facebook Marketplace, everywhere, and we were able to get $1,000 down. Another big thing that I would say to yourself is $1,000 emergency fund truly enough for you? This emergency is not just, oh, I can't pay my bills this week. This emergency is like holy catastrophe. And I want you to think, if you have a large family, if you're a single person or you're just married with you and your husband and you don't have a lot of medical needs, maybe $1,000 is perfect for you. For us, $1,000 just wasn't right. We needed to have a little bit more cushion in there, and we found that out the hard way. Because one time our car broke down and we had to pay like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of repairs, and it didn't make sense for us to sell that vehicle and to buy a cheaper vehicle. At the time, that was the most financially sound, and $1,000 emergency fund just didn't cut it. Be logical about this, and maybe you need $3,000 emergency fund. And I know you're looking at me saying, hey Myka, I don't have $3,000, what are you talking about? But if you have the appropriate emergency fund to begin with, you might be better off with this entire program. And that was a mistake that we found out really, really quickly. Like I said, one thing that we did to get to our baby step number 1 as fast as possible is we were dumpster diving. We were doing so many things. I was selling clothes on eBay, being a super seller. We were finding furniture in the back of apartments, like, you know, when college kids would move out and they had like a nice couch, or they would throw away their laptops. We would grab the laptops, clean them, and then we would sell them on Facebook Marketplace, and then we would sell the furniture on Facebook Marketplace next to nothing. Whereas a nice couch could potentially go for $400, we would sell them all for like $100 or under $100. So they were easy, quick bites, but they also helped to roll in money a lot quicker. We would also clean and sanitize everything to the best of our ability when we did this. So please don't think we were being shady or weird by any means. Another thing that we did to really help ourselves propel in the very first step is we would go to garage sales, and if people were saying, yeah, I'm just gonna throw this stuff out, or I'm gonna give it to Goodwill, or what have you, and sometimes when you give things to Goodwill, they get rid of, or they actually end up throwing away a margin of some of the items, we would say, if you don't want them, is there any way we could have some of the things? And we would sell it on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist. And that helped us a lot with a little bit of side hustles to get where we needed to get, just to be a little bit more financially sound. Because like I said, at the time, I was a complete idiot with money. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so dumb. All I wanted was, and I'm not saying you're dumb, but I made really dumb choices. I was such an idiot. Like, I would be like, I wanna go out to dinner for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and dessert every day. We had a 1-income family. It just didn't make sense. So it didn't work for very long. Next, the number thing is paying off debt. This one took us the longest because we had $150,000 worth of debt. A lot of student loans, a lot of credit cards. My husband bought me a lavish ring, even though we were like swimming in debt. But I'm so grateful of his kindness and everything. He wanted to give me the world, even though we didn't have the world, which is silly looking back on it. But we had a lot of debt to pay off. My biggest recommendation when you're paying off your debt, because some people may have $5,000 worth of debt that they have to pay off. Some people may have $400,000 worth of debt. This part might be what takes you the longest. And it's also going to be the most tedious if you're on the Dave Ramsey plan, because his big thing is to get people out of debt. So a lot of times they have a big chunk and they just don't know how to do it, and they keep falling backwards, which we did quite a few times. My biggest thing is to figure out ways to spoil yourself. You are going to feel just in a box. You're going to feel super stressed. At least it did for me. At the first couple weeks, we were like excited. You know, like when you watch a documentary for the first time and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. Lifestyle change, boom. And you're just like balls to the wall, running with this new idea. That was me, and that was us for quite a few weeks. But eventually it's like, I can't run anymore. I'm exhausted. I just need a break. So what I would recommend to you is find what a spoiler is for you. We found so many weird tricks, and I know you're gonna think we're super weird, but like I said, my husband was a dumpster diver. So, and I don't even know if that's a thing, but he would do it where he was legally allowed. But he would dumpster dive, and he would get me like new candles from the back of stores and bring me home a candle. He'd sanitize it and clean it off and light it for me, and I got you a little something. And then he knew a couple grocery stores that in the evening when their floral bouquets like were kind of getting a little bit older, that they would throw them out. And he actually talked to a couple of the management places, and they said they would just give them to him. So a couple times a month, I would get a fresh bouquet of flowers. And it sounded so silly, but at the time, we were lucky to get a new outfit from Goodwill. We were literally pinching penny to penny. We didn't have any extra money to spare. So getting that small extra bouquet of flowers or getting something little. We also went to the grocery store and we would talk to the manager We like our bananas a little bit brown because they're perfect for smoothies and they're perfect for baby food. So we would talk to the manager right before they pulled them off the shelf, and they would give us like 60% discount on a case of bananas, which would last us such a long time. There was a lot of little things that we did, but what I wanted to specifically say is make sure you can find ways to spoil yourself. Like getting those flowers, even though it was so petty, and even though it was from the dumpster, or negotiating with the grocery store place. And like I said, a lot of people may watch this and be like, girl, you're so cheap. Yes, 110%. We were paying off a lot of debt and we were so stupid with money. So we had to learn how to be super big cheapskates. And it's what worked for us. Another big thing that I would do when paying off the debt, like I said, this is gonna take a huge amount of time to get out of debt. I don't know what your debt situation is, but like I said, most people that sign up for the plan are swarming in debt and they're just like, I don't know what to do, please help me. One thing that I did every single month is set aside spending money. Money where I can just be me, not feel like I am paying off debt. I can be a little luxurious. I could pretend to be bougie for a second. I did that every month. And when I didn't do it, or when I got cocky and said, no, I don't need it this month, we're gonna keep running, I would push us back several months. Several months, because then I would snap, and it sounds like I have a problem, but literally I just know myself, like I really like to spend. That sounds so bad. I really like to shop. It's one of my favorite things. So telling myself for an entire month and me working really, really hard and saying, no, you're not spending, is just not something that's going to be doable for myself. You may be a totally different person, but for me, I need a little bit of spending money, and I know that about myself. Whether it's $20 or $200, you have to look at your budget and see what makes sense. I don't know what kind of money you're playing with. I don't know what it looks like, but if it's $300 and you say, this is what you get, and this could be eating out money, or this could be a little bit of shopping money, or maybe you got 50 bucks. Because I remember when we very first started this process, our spending money was just like super minuscule, but it didn't matter how much it was. I look forward to it. Sometimes I would wait till the very last day of the month and I would be like, I did so good. I didn't touch the budget. I didn't mess up a thing. I was extra frugal on X, Y, and Z, and I feel so good and encouraged and excited about that $50. Even though it was my spending money, I would find a way to like turn it into a little family treat for everybody. And then it made it feel even more special, because I was like, I could have blown this on myself or bought myself a new pair of, used shoes from Poshmark, or whatever I did in those days. But sometimes I would be like, I just want to take you guys out for a quick little lunch. And it sounds so petty, but those little things like made such a world of the difference. It made me be able to truly stay on track and feel more accountable, and just be able not to make as big of mistakes. So if you're not already doing that for the Dave Ramsey plan, like I said, I'm pretty sure that he doesn't have that in the budget. He is just like, hit it hard and go, go, go. But if you do not plan for those budgets, and don't just tell yourself, we can have a little fun here, a little fun there. Truly allocate every single dollar. Every single dollar. Don't get flexible and say, this is my spending money, or man, this is my spoil money, or this is my reward money, a little here, a little there, because then it gets out of control and it's back to where you used to be, and that's not what you want. Allocate every single dollar until you get right where you want to get. And like I said, for that $50, like I just got so excited. I look forward to every second of it. And I know it sounds petty, but for me, like my love language is gifts. So I love to give people gifts. It's just, I think I learned it from my grandma. She would always shower me in gifts, and she would just have the biggest smile on her face. And I'm pretty sure I learned it from her. But that's my love language, and that's how I show love too. So when I have a little bit of spending money, extra spending money, it helps. Just like, I don't know what the psychological explanation is, but it helps me a lot. So biggest tip is make sure you allocate every dollar, and make sure you are budgeting that spending money. Really write down all your finances. Do a financial workup, which I can do another video on that if you want to see how we kill our budgeting and kill our financial workups. We do them every single month, and I love them. They're my favorite thing ever. But if you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. But allocate how much money is appropriate for you to have on your spoiled day. And I usually split the spoil. Let's say it's $100 spoil. I get 50, and then my husband would get $50 as well, since we're both on this journey together. And if it's just you by yourself, maybe you get a whopping $100, or maybe you just get 15. It's okay, but you need that for your mental health. And maybe you're not the kind of person that needs it, but I'm pretty sure most of us in this much debt probably need it. Just an assumption, but we probably need it. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is how much money to put down for your savings. He has put 3 to 6 months expenses in savings. And one thing that I would ask you to do is look at how much you spend monthly. There's 2 different scenarios when you look at how you spend monthly. There's what you spend monthly, and this is just our bare basics. We're not being luxurious, but this is what we spend, just our basics. And then we have what we spend monthly in a crisis. So we need to look at both of those numbers figuratively and realistically. For example, let's say it's $5,000 for you to live monthly. You don't have any luxuries. You don't have anything fancy. There's no extracurricular activities. We don't have any fancy car payments, but we still have some nicer things. For example, we have Netflix on there still, a couple extra $100 in the food bank, a spending money. You know what I mean? That money that I kind of talked about before. Or maybe we have a car payment because we have 2 cars, so we do have an extra car payment, or we have a more expensive phone plan. This is just what you live off of every single month right now. Let's pretend that's $5,000. And if we look at our emergency crisis, what it costs for us to live, this would probably be about $3,000. Whether that means I immediately sold a vehicle and I took away a car payment, I took out an extracurricular activity, I got rid of all subscription services, or maybe I moved down an apartment. I switched apartments so it wasn't as drastic. This is what emergency crisis savings would look like. So $5,000 to $3,000 per month, pretending. This is just a scenario that I'm talking about. And you need to look at which one you need to save for immediately. He says 3 to 6 months. So if we're doing 5,000, we would times that by 3, and that would be our emergency fund. And if we were in crisis mode, we need to see how much we would need for crisis mode. What I tend to do is save for crisis mode first. So I need at least 3 months of crisis mode. So that's going to be, we're going to just do this on the phone, even though I know it's going to be 9,000. We're going to do it on the phone because I trust a calculator more than my brain. So we have 3,000 times 3, we have $9,000 for crisis mode. We really want to be just in our traditional life emergency fund. So then we're also going to need to allocate for that. If for some reason it is close to the end of tax season, or you're getting close to tax season, I would focus on crisis mode, saving for crisis mode first and foremost, and then I would figure out, will I owe anything on taxes? And that would be the next thing that I would focus on. If tax season is not super close and you're going to be fine, then just focus on your traditional trajectory for the month and saving as much as you possibly can. I prefer to save at least 6 months. Sometimes I'll save for an entire year if I want to be a doomsday prepper, which I do tend to be a little bit of a worrywart, if you will, and I do prep a little bit more than I need to. So if that's you, do that. But if you're getting really close to tax season and maybe you owe for taxes, or you know you're going to owe, then do the crisis mode first and then start allocating some funds for taxes. That's how I would operate everything, and that's kind of how I would figure things out. Like I said, personally, I prefer for baby step number 3, if you're not in crisis mode and you're not doing and taxes aren't coming up yet, the very first thing that I would do is save either 6 months to 12 months of real livable emergency fund, not crisis mode emergency fund, so that you just have a really beautiful cushion and you're able to actually function and say that, you know, if Harry loses his job, my husband Harry, he's not Harry, but whatever, I'm going to be able to be okay just for a couple months until we figure out another game plan kind of thing. We're going to move on to the next step. As far as investing into your household income, I've done things a little differently, so I'm not going to be able to give you the best advice right here. I'm going to leave that to the experts because we have a different scenario. We invested into our SEP account because we have the type of business that we've enrolled in made things a little bit different, and we were unable to sign up for a Roth. So I'm not the best person to give you advice for this. For these three things, I want to also tell you what I did. He wants you to invest into your household income. Personally, what I do, instead of having this be a whole entity, I invest into my retirement fund every single year. Even if I was on baby step number 1, I would invest into my retirement fund every year. Some people may say, no, I'm going to do his baby steps one at a time. This helps you in taxes. If you are the kind of person that owes on taxes, this will help you substantially. Take into consideration that I'll break all of that down on a totally different video. If you want me to talk about ways to save on taxes, let me know. I will help you out. But for now, let's just say I'm going to do this every single year. Another big thing that I do every year. So I add a little bit to my kids' college funds every year, even if I'm in crisis mode, even if I only have $20 to add. I tend to do, instead of doing like a monthly contribution to their college fund, at the end of the year, I always just do whatever check I felt was appropriate. I have a lot of kiddos, so I will give them whatever I was either able to give or whatever I could give. When I was in this mode, I would still make sure, even if it was just like $100 per kid, I just put it in there and I said, you know what, guys, I couldn't give you a ton this month or this year, but I did my best and wiped the tears off my face and I said, I love you guys. Hopefully next year I'll be able to give a little bit more. As silly as it sounds, but I did this a little bit every year. Another big thing that I did that I felt was really important. I have a good friend, Alex Congeleri, and she told me this and taught me it a long time ago, and it helped me a ton. She always taught me if you can give money and be not scared of money, it'll always come back around. But when you have a money scarcity mindset, you'll lose money every time. And since she has taught me that mindset, things have changed so much. Every year, no matter how much money we have in the bank, we make sure to give, even if it's just a little. We will find a family to help out for Christmas, or we'll find an organization or find some way to contribute to the community and give. Even if it's just, I'm volunteering for the day, I don't have a lot of money, and I'm gonna bring a ton of food for this volunteer activity and just kind of help with my time and my love and my heart. You could do that too. But one thing that I encourage is to give, because when you give, it makes your mindset for money just in a better place. You stop being so greedy and you stop getting your mindset, the way you think about money calms down. You're not in it for greed and, oh, I'm gonna be a millionaire. That's great if you become a millionaire. I want you to become a millionaire. I want every one of you to become a multimillionaire. But I want to make sure that you don't get so greedy and so gross and so wrapped up in society, and you still have your humble heart that you began with. And that's why giving every year, even if you have barely any, even if it's just a little, it keeps your heart grounded and it keeps you right where you need to be. And that's my biggest recommendation for the steps and kind of how they worked for us. But like I said, remember, giving helps keep you humble, and it is one of the best things to do. Anyways, I hope that you guys liked my tips and ways that we did things to become successful on Dave Ramsey's plan. Dave Ramsey is a genius. I love the way that he's laid out everything. He has a perfect system that really is here to cater to you and help you really, truly achieve your financial success. But like I said, there was a couple of things that worked really well for us, and maybe because I'm just a girl that loves to spend money, I don't know. Remembering that I needed to give every single year, making sure to give even just a little tiny bit in their college funds, if I only had a little bit, was so important. And then to really pay attention to tax season around your expenses for saving was so important. But I hope this video helped you, and if it did, give it a thumbs up. I have some videos coming out for you guys that you are going to love. I have budgeting videos. I have videos on how to make tons of money from home without a college degree, and so much more that I cannot wait for you guys. And I hope this video helped you get a crush on cash, and if it did, slam that thumbs up button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.